After graduating from college and not working in the city, your daughter is fine, and she has returned to the countryside to farm again. The old lady said angrily. What's wrong with Kinkin coming back to farm? The pressure in big cities is so great. It costs 2,000 or 3,000 to rent a house. Just come back. What's good? What's good if you don't make money? Jia Guohua said. Jia King was in the room at the moment, looking confused. A few years ago, she awakened a small space of a few square meters with a static purification function. But after all these years of awakening, apart from being able to pack things, it didn't bring her any convenience. When she came back, she brought a small suitcase, and the things in the rental house were brought back to this space, which saved her a lot of courier fees. But at this moment, some things stored in her space are lost. The clothes and daily necessities are still there. But what about the snacks she spent money on? What about the specialties? What about the yogurt and drinks she bought? Her space is a static space, and she has stored these things. But now all the food she eats is gone. For so many years, her space has never encountered such a situation. Could it be that this thing can disappear out of thin air? Then she found that there were suddenly more things in the space. But what are these things? All ripped men's clothes and a rusty knife? She took out a box of Oreo chocolate chip cookies, which were her snacks, but she had already eaten half a box, and there was still half a box left. The drink was only half a bottle left. This is obviously someone who has eaten it. Who ate her biscuits? She put them back before she finished eating them. And this ragged dress, which was dirty and polluted her space. Jia King directly threw the ragged clothes into the trash can. She suspected that her space was a thief. But who else could enter her space? So you hadn't eaten for nearly 4 or 5 days. If it wasn't for his physique being different from ordinary people, he would probably have starved to death. His lips were chapped and extremely dehydrated. He came out looking for supplies and was injured, thinking he was going to die. But he didn't expect to awaken a space. And the ability he awakened at this moment was simply a joke. Where are you going to collect supplies now? But magically, there are things in this space. But it seems to be some girls' things. Shampoo, girls' shoes, clothes, toilet paper. But he swept a big bag of snacks and water. He wanted to take it out, but he didn't expect to be able to take it out. He looked at the snacks, a little familiar. The food was clean, and there was no sign of mold. But he was too hungry to eat too much, so he just ate a few packs, put some snacks back, and put his only package in space. Although he did not know why he had awakened his space, and that there was still something inside, he felt that it was his fate, and he could live on. He seemed to hear the voice of an angry girl. This voice was vivid, soft, and pleasant to hear. Who on earth stole my things? At this time, he seemed to understand. Could the power he awakened be connected to someone else's space? So you didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the thought of this. Sorry, I don't know how to connect to your space. I'm very hungry and haven't eaten for a long time. So I took your food to eat. I can give you crystal beads. What are crystal beads? Jia King frowned. The man's voice echoed in the space, and his voice sounded very good, although it sounded a little hoarse. This made Jia King, who was a little voice activated, not so angry. The two of them couldn't see each other, but they could hear each other's voice, and they were both able to connect to this space. Are you hungry and didn't eat? Do you have no money? Jia King asked her soul. Although she doesn't have much money, her family is in the countryside, but at least she doesn't have to worry about food, drink, and clothing. Jia King finally got into college and can go to a big city to study, but other people's living expenses are 2,000 or 3,000 a month, and she can only work and study for 500 a month. She studied painting and design, and it is too difficult to find a job and employment, and the cost of living is very high, so she has to go back to her hometown. Money. The man seemed to have heard something funny. Money is the most useless thing in my place. A piece of gold is not as valuable as a piece of bread. If you can give me food, I can find you a lot of gold and silver jewelry. The man said jokingly, "Here, gold jewelry is everywhere, and food is the most scarce." He could even give crystal beads. Really? That's great. Then what kind of food do you want? Jia King said excitedly. Where did this person come from? Jia King didn't have the courage to ask. Fine, what do you want to eat? Spicy rice, roast duck, hot pot, roast chicken, fruits. There are also apples, other strawberries, and peaches in our family. Suyu became even more nervous when he heard this. There are actually these things? After the apocalypse, plants have mutated. Not only can't be eaten, but even have toxins. However, in order to survive, some people had to eat poisonous fruits. Not only food, but also water sources had been contaminated. Suyu's mouth unknowingly began to secrete water. Does she have all these things? Now Suyu is basically sure that this girl is definitely not from his time and space. Maybe it is from another time and space. He awakened his superpower and connected to the girl's space. This is how he can communicate across space, which also brings hope to his life. I want to drink water. Do you have any medicine? I'll give you crystal beads. Suyu asked. There are other friends in the base who have a fever. Medicine? What medicine do you want? Can't you buy medicine with so much money? Jia King asked with a big question mark. The world I live in is full of zombies and virus infections. And there is only extreme heat and extreme cold here. Suyu's voice was a little lonely, and his voice became even more hoarse. The gold you mentioned is available in any city, and no one wants it. It's better than an expired bread. Jia King was shocked. Gold? It can't even compare to an expired bread, as long as you have gold. Diamonds or valuable things. You can exchange them for me. Jia King's eyes lit up and said excitedly, Is there any water? The man's voice was hoarse. Mineral water, pure water, milk tea. Drinks include beer and beer. Which one do you want to drink? Water is fine. His lips were chapped, and he just wanted to drink some clean water. The bottles of water here are already parasites. Jia King can enter this space, but Suyu can only access things. Jia King excitedly went to the kitchen, took her cup, and made a cup of chrysanthemum tea for Suyu, and put a few rock candies in it by the way. The old lady looked at Jia King and ran out in her pajamas, which made her very unhappy. It was already 9 o'clock. Her grandmother favored boys over girls, and his parents gave birth to an only daughter, so she was always dissatisfied with their family. On the contrary, she was very partial to the children of her uncle's family. A girl is a prodigal thing. She can't make money, and when she marries someone else in the future, she will belong to someone else's family. Spend so much money for college. I mean, what kind of school does a girl go to at home? It's better to save the money for your nephew to marry a daughter-in-law in the future. The old lady looked at Jia King's back, thinking that she was lazy and didn't want to work. So she ran back to her room to sleep. Jia King put the water cup into her space and didn't wait for the man to take it out. Hey, Jia King said, but no one responded. I heard that man say that it is the end of the world, and it will not be killed by zombies as soon as she binds her space, right? Thinking of what he just said, he didn't even pick up the diamonds and gold that fell to the ground. In the dilapidated city, the roar of zombies would come from time to time. Suyu's shoulder was injured, and his clothes had been dyed red with blood and dried up. He looked warily at the ruins of the city, and the thick fog covered the sky, and it was gray everywhere. The once bustling city has been devastated and has become a paradise for zombies. At this moment, he is in a city occupied by zombies, and he can smell the stench of zombies everywhere. And he must be alert to the appearance of those hungry zombies at any time. At this moment, a zombie suddenly appeared to pounce on him, and he chopped off the zombie's head with his backhand. But the wound on his back was still a little painful. He replenished some water and food, which made him recover a lot of strength. Passing through a street full of stones, there are many old cars next to him. Weeds grow from the cracks in the ground, and there are abandoned cars around. It's getting dark. They have to find a place to hide as soon as possible. And the zombies at night will become active. Team Sue, I'm dying. If I die, help me take care of my family. My son is still young, the man said weakly. His lips have not been watered for a long time, and his lips are chapped and bloody. What nonsense! Since I found you, I won't let you die here. So you frowned and originally wanted to take out half a bottle of water from the space for the man to drink, but found that there was an extra cup of steaming chrysanthemum tea. It seems that the girl made it for him. He has to save his brother now, and then go to the store to find gold for her. He thought about it, and through the crystal bead, he just dissected into the space first. This thing is an energy bead, and she should be able to absorb it. After awakening the space, it should be able to be absorbed by metahumans.